This is James Page with INCA TV. We are over with Freedom Fibre and I'm with Darren Woods, their Chief Financial Officer. Darren, thanks for joining us. Wanted to start with a little congratulations. We know it was the 2-year birthday last week of Freedom Fibre. It's been a busy 2 years, I'm sure, and lots has changed in that time. How are things for you at the moment?
Well, very good. Thank you very much. 2 years, yeah. Crikey, what a journey it's been in 2 years. I remember us putting our plans together 2 years ago about how we were going to develop this business, and nobody could predict what's happened in the last 2 years. I mean, from a Freedom Fibre point of view, absolutely delighted with the progress we've made in that 2-year period. So we're now from standing start, we're just past 50,000 homes. We'll be at 70,000 by the end of the year. We've got a wholesale agreement with TalkTalk, so we're connecting customers at a reasonable rate as well, and we want to be better at that. We're about to launch a B2B product into the new year, so moving from not just residential but into B2B offering as well. And the business has gone from, I think, 6 employees when we started, 165 today. So a remarkable 2 years really. And if you'd have said 2 years ago this is where you'd be, I'd have snapped your hand off. So delighted. And I guess probably, you know, the most important part actually is that this year we secured long-term financing through Equitix, a major infrastructure investor who could see the value of our business and what we're aiming to do, and secured 84 million of investment through them. So it allows us to start to move our plan forward at pace. So yeah, no, it's been a remarkable 2 years. I guess the other point is that the world around us has changed so much in that period as well. I mean, I remember us looking at the downside risks of what might happen in the next 2 years, and everyone's talking about Brexit, and we came off the back of the pandemic, obviously, and what impact would that have. I don't think anybody could have predicted the economic climate we're now in, and the challenges on cost of living and the challenges facing the economy, whether that hits wage inflation or that hits cost of living or materials inflation. So it's a very different environment we find ourselves in now.
Interesting. And you mentioned some of the figures there about the number of customers that you've got. Are you seeing any of that cost of living challenges affecting the pace of growth, do you think?
Well, I think it's a really interesting question, that, because I think maybe 3-4 years ago, I think there was a view that if you bring fibre into a community, everybody must want it. Almost, it's a kind of slam dunk that you'll connect customers. I think over that 3 or 4 year period, there's been a realisation that it's hard actually to convince people to move on to fibre. I think partly that's because there's confusion in the sector. So the sector's not helped itself by using things like FTTC, so fibre to the cabinet, and people feel as though they're already getting some kind of fibre when they're not. And they're quite happy with the product that they've got within reason. So even though it's a copper-based product, if you can watch Netflix and you're not getting major outages, then you see it as something that you may well stick with. So the burning platform to move on to fibre isn't quite as obvious in the marketplace as everybody thought it would be. So as a result of which, we have to work very, very hard actually in order to educate and inform the communities we work in on the benefits of full fibre, because it undoubtedly is a much better resilient product. And every household is getting more and more equipment in their household which requires the internet, and you want that ability to work from home, or you want the ability to have many different devices in operation, and fibre allows you to do that. And off the back of that, it's a much more resilient product, and you know, for the consumer, it's a really great value product. The problem is that you've got to educate people and help them understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting point. Do you Freedom Fibre talk about having FTTP?
Yeah.
Do you think those kind of terminologies between FTTC, FTTH, do you think the consumers understand any of that?
No, I don't. Because I think it's a complicated sector, and most people just want it to work and don't really want to understand the technical side of it. So to some extent you want to plug in your equipment and your devices and just make it work, and changing actually from what works at the minute onto something else is a leap of faith. And we need to educate people that actually, you know, copper has a limited lifespan and it will end at some point in the future. And actually, the more people you've got around you, the more homes that are built, then you get a degradation on the service you get through copper anyway. So moving on to full fibre gives you that resilience and gives you a platform you can really build on. And at the minute in the marketplace, because it's so competitive, there's lots of great value opportunities out there. I mean, we trade with TalkTalk at the minute. They're our main customer. We're a wholesale provider, but we will be onboarding other ISPs. We want to be open access and make sure that we can provide as many different ISPs into the community as possible. But there are great deals out there at the minute. They're really competitive. The challenge is we're doing that against the backdrop now of a very, very difficult cost of living crisis, with inflation peaking at 11% we've seen this morning, the highest on record for 45 years. Not surprisingly, people are having to make choices. And when you've got energy prices where they are, top of their list is not going to be changing the broadband. Yeah, and that's where I think we need some government help as well, in order to understand, the government support that full fibre is something that helps the whole of the world and community, and especially UK PLC. And moving on to that helps us be more productive as an economy. Then we need to make sure that government's aware of the challenges that people are facing in order to help people make that transition.
Interesting. So clearly it's not been an issue for you if you've just been able to manage to secure some more funding. But do you think that cost of living issues, or even the knock-on effect of that getting more customers to sign up to fibre, could that be a problem for others seeking more funding?
Well, I think it is a problem for us, because I think we're part of the UK economy. We do have a great asset in the fact that we work with TalkTalk as a wholesale provider, and they migrate their customers where we're building. So that's an absolute advantage that we run. But we do look to onboard other ISPs. Whether we work with TalkTalk or other ISPs, ultimately it's their customers that are feeling the pinch, and their customers are picking and choosing where they want to get their products from. And as I've said, if you've got a choice between heating and food and broadband, then broadband's going to come up or third or fourth down that list. So it is a challenge. We are looking creatively at different things we can do. So within Freedom Fibre, we're working on a social tariff. So we've connected our first community centre in Lee, which is a part of our social kind of value system. And we're also looking at a discounted price with large ISPs where we offer a social value. So, people who may be on benefits or can't afford, that we don't discount them from getting access to gigabit products. So I think it's up to us to be creative. I think it's up to us to work with larger ISPs in order to make sure we get to their customers at the right time. But I also think government has to realise that, all the investment going into the UK, significant amounts of investment, does need to see a return for investors. And if the government wants to see the whole of the UK to be, gigabit enabled, so we got higher productivity, then we don't want altnets to fail, because ultimately at the current climate, you can't get customers connected and you can't get the returns.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Really, really interesting, and great to hear the sort of innovation that's going on within your business. So hopefully we'll be able to talk in another year's time and hear how things have gone. But congratulations on the first 2 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Cheers.